Hey everyone, Julie Machunga here. Today we are talking about the final macronutrient for our Fitness Friday Nutrition 101 series, and that is carbohydrates. Let's get started. So carbs are a major energy source for us. For those of us who are endurance athletes, maybe you're a runner or a cycler, carbs are very important in supplying that energy that you're having during your workouts. They also support our brain function, they regulate blood sugar levels, and then they also aid in digestion. So let's talk a little bit more about types of carbs. So when you look at total carbohydrates on a nutrition label, you'll notice that underneath that, it will typically say fiber content, and then it will also say sugar or added sugar content. Fiber and sugars are both a kind of carbs, and so that's why they are listed in that as well. And so it's important to look at each of these as well as just looking at total carbohydrate amount, because fiber is a really important nutrient in our body, and added sugars is something we want to try to avoid as best as we can. So I like to break down carbs into two categories, and that's minimally processed carbs and highly processed carbs. So when we think about minimally processed carbs, we're thinking about things like whole grains, maybe oatmeals. We're thinking about fruits and vegetables, legumes, beans, different things like that, things that are more naturally occurring. And then when we're thinking about highly processed carbs, we're thinking more about simple sugars, processed food, candies, white bread, cereals, enriched flours, different things like that. So the highly processed carbs are things that your body breaks down really quickly and converts right into energy. So while it gives you a quick burst of energy, it doesn't give you lasting energy. Whereas minimally processed carbs, such as those oatmeals, those fruits, those vegetables, they're gonna give you a little bit more of a longer lasting carbohydrate response. They're broken down slower in your body, which means that the carbohydrates will provide you with more energy over time. So now let's talk about the fiber content a little bit. When you're thinking about choosing your carb sources, I always recommend to people to look at the fiber content as well, because making sure that you're choosing carbs with a good fiber content is usually a way to kind of ensure you're getting a little bit of a healthier carb option. Typical recommendations for fiber intake per day are around 30 grams for females and around 40 grams for males. This is something I recommend adding up and seeing if you're getting. Typically, a lot of us are very low on our fiber intake, which can result in problems with digestion, maybe feeling bloated, different things like that can be a result of just not getting enough fiber. Now we'll talk a little bit more about the sugar content that's listed under the total carbohydrates on your nutrition label. So an example that we'll use to kind of portray this is cereal, so everyone's favorite snack, right? So I'm gonna compare Honey Bunches of Oats, which is just a common cereal you'll find in the grocery store, versus like H-E-B oats, old-fashioned oats that you are making yourselves, not the pre-prepared packaged mix. So if we look at a Honey Bunches of Oats label, we'll see that the total carbohydrates is 34 grams, and then we'll see underneath that total sugars is 9 grams, and then 8 grams of that total sugars is added sugars. So that's basically all of it, right? 8 grams of 9 grams is, I don't know the percentage, but probably about 90% of added sugars for that cereal, right? Whereas if we compare that directly with the oatmeal container, we'll see that that has 27 grams of total carbohydrates, 0 grams of total sugars, and 0 grams of total added sugars. So we know that this is already gonna be a better carbohydrate source because it has no sugar, no added sugar, which is even more important, versus the cereal, which has almost 10 grams of sugar in it. So again, that's giving you more of that highly processed response, which is where your body is breaking them down quickly and allowing you to use it quickly, versus this oatmeal, no sugar, long-lasting carb. My body is better able to absorb it and then digest it, and it's gonna be giving me energy throughout the entire day and throughout more time than the cereal will. So just to finish up, everybody's response to carbohydrates is different. Some people respond really well to a high carb diet. Some people respond really well to a low carb or even a keto diet. What's important is just finding what works for you. Observe your energy levels when you're on a high carb versus a low carb diet. Observe how you're feeling in your workouts, how you're sleeping, how your mood is, and then decide from there if you're somebody who functions better on higher carbs, like myself, or if you're somebody who functions a little bit better on a lower carb diet. Again, it's going to be different for everyone. Not one way to eat is one size fits all. So find what works for you. Hope this helped, and as always, let us know if you have questions. Bye.
Bye.